Alright guys, so here is my trade review for NVIDIA on Friday, May 22nd. So we're going to jump right into this here. So basically what had given me the ultimate conviction, confirmation here, was one of my favorite setups that I love using, which is the lowercase h. So that's basically exactly how it sounds, just kind of like writing out a lowercase h. And I'm going to show you exactly where it formed over here. Now, this isn't the exact best one. It doesn't look picture perfect. But as you can see, come over here. And again, all we're looking for is exactly like I said, just to draw the lowercase letter h. That's basically all it's going to look like, just like right there. So you can see on the 4-hour here, I'll circle it. This is basically what I saw. We have the stem here. And then you can see that's kind of the lowercase h right here. So I'll draw it out with my arrow, you see. Right there, you can kind of see where we had the lower days touching. You can even make a couple different cases here, but regardless, you get the point there. So, and of course that came into, Thursday pre-market boba, and then this is where we came in Friday. So naturally, I was already seeing the lowercase h break. And so that was very bearish for me. Now, a lowercase h is basically just a precursor for more bearishness to come. That's assuming that the move fills out, which is honestly, I would say at least probably 90% plus of the time. It's a very, very good statistic, very high success rate on lowercase h. I would say at least 90% plus of the time it works out. So yeah, that's why I love using them. And then the way I got my conviction onto price targets and where we were going, where I called out to about 212.50 in the day, was off of this trend line. So as you can see, I'm sure you already saw it on the 4-hour here, this big old trend line. So of course I love using patterns and I love using trend lines. Like I said, these are my two favorite things to use. So as you can see here, we already had 2 taps right here. So naturally I could tell, obviously I could tell we're going back downwards. We already started curling, we already rejected. And by the way, these trend lines here, if I were to zoom out, these trend lines are actually going back a lot further, which I'll show you real quick. So that's how I knew we were kind of rejecting. We're already at like all-time highs, and it doesn't always have to hit the exact top of the trend line. So yeah, as you can see, that goes back a little ways. They don't always add up the best on daily and weekly for some reason on TradingView. Like when I show like a daily view, it doesn't add up the same as like on a 4-hour. So that's why I really love to use the 4-hour. That's my favorite to draw trend lines. It can be harder because sometimes, it sucks having to go all the way back and you don't have the same line in the screen. You kind of have to like focus in and out and go back and forth, but you get used to it after a while. So, yeah, as you can see, sometimes the lines don't line up exactly on the daily and weekly, but yeah, so that right there, that's the bigger trend line going all the way back down. So that's how I kind of knew that we were getting exhausted as well, too. We were already kind of turning around and whatnot. Oh, boy, here we go. And, yeah, so we'll go back there. So that was just to zoom out and show you the trend lines there. So how I got my conviction for the price target and the goals and whatnot, like I was saying, we already got rejected. We didn't even hit the top of the trend line here. So I knew we were coming back down. We had already made some significant way down already here. We had already formed the lowercase h. And not to mention, it was coming off of an SR flip, basically, where we hit right here, where it used to be, or not really so much SR, but yeah, I guess kind of, because we went from resistance to support to back to resistance again. So, yeah, I just knew it was a big level right there. So once we already broken through, now when you break the lows of a lowercase h, which to be fully validated, you needed to absolutely tap the original stem. It needs to tap the low. So like we would say this is the stem right here. This is the lowest low. We need to make sure that it tapped right here. So that's the full validation. Sometimes when it forms, what can happen is sometimes after it hits this low, it might need to make a little retest here up to the 9 EMA or so before continuing back downwards, and that's what happened in this case. But that was before Friday, so we missed all of that. So we didn't have to worry about all of that anyway. We got in on the good side right after the continuation. But yeah, before I keep getting distracted here, so back to the price targets and whatnot. So I knew that this was going to keep coming down because I had my trend line set here, and the way that I look at it is that I just take it from, you know, basically where I think it's going to line up. You can't be exactly too sure, especially on the 4 hour. It gets pretty vague here with these lines moving pretty fast. And so naturally I just look for a big level that would line up around there. So I see that, you know, we're going down. So let's scroll back towards Friday. This is around noon. So we're going down. The exact trend line would be about, what do you say, about 212 there, maybe exactly. So I start looking for around levels, which would be about 212.50. Looks like that's a good support. SR flip right there, and it lines up right there at the next 4 hour chalk anyway. So yeah, that's what kind of gave me my conviction. So, and I'll walk you through when I kind of called it out as well too. So if you look in the Discord here, basically, I had hopped into this trade really quick, by the way. I had actually woken up late on Friday. I missed my alarms. I wasn't even trading in the morning or anything like that. So I had woken up really late, and this was like 12:45. I had hopped into a trade, and I had already known afterwards too. Like I should have waited for confirmation, but anyways, yeah, I got in with not so great price. I had paid about 25 a contract, and then of course the second after I had entered, which you can see right here on this chart right here, this is about right where I entered, right here. Of course, I didn't wait for this confirmation like I should have. Like I was being an idiot, and I just tried to jump ahead of it because I knew I would have been paying a lot more if I had waited for that confirmation. So I was trying to get ahead of the move, of course. I could already see the lowercase h forming. We were underneath VWAP. We were underneath the 9. You know, that's just a perfect confirmation for me. And yeah, so that's when I started calling it out in the chat here. You know, after I started ripping, I was like, oh, I wouldn't be surprised, blah, blah, blah. But then I was like, oh, man, of course, if I had just waited, I would have got those same cons rate. And I called it out in live chat, too. I was in live chat. So I called them out just when it hit this rejection here to get in for around 8, right off that entry of VWAP there. So, and then, of course, you know, I kept calling it out from here, going down further and further. This is the live updates channel where you can find in the Discord. So that's where I keep track of all the, basically, you know, self-explanatory live updates throughout the day and whatnot if I'm not on live chat. So, yeah, I just kind of going from there and whatnot and blah, blah. So I called them out for an even better price than what I had entered in. And, yeah, I even posted the re-entry for better cons. Those are my space swings, which you guys probably saw anyway. But, yeah, the, where is it? Yep. 217 puts. Yep, I would still go with the 217 puts right here. Yep. 53. And then we got that news candle where I was like, oh shit, forget that now. I might as well just chase calls here. And then bang, went right back down, right off that news candle. That was where we got that freaking fuckery, man, which I'll show you in a second. But so yeah, those launched all the way from 50 up to like 200 again, going all the way back down. And of course, these are just screenshots and whatnot that I take for proof and whatnot. So nobody can say that they weren't the prices that I called them out when they were. But yeah, anyway, let me show you what had happened on that news candle and whatnot, and I'll show you a better graph also on the 5 minutes. You can see a lot more better too, basically the whole trade review. So yeah, so this is the day. I started late, of course, you know, I missed all this good downside, I missed all that great stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then when I had hopped in, basically, I had just started looking at the chart around like 12:30 right here. This is when I started looking. So for me, I could already see that this lowercase h was forming. You know, naturally, obviously, most people wouldn't be able to see it. Let's see if I can even do a replay from here. Yeah, I can't do that. All right, anyways. But, yeah, so from there, I just came in right about here. So naturally, I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to go down. I know this is forming the lowercase h. And I drew that trend, and I knew I should have waited. I should have waited for the confirmation. I think I entered right here on this break, actually, right on this, like, little wick here. And then it had gotten wicked right back up. And then this was the news candle right here. So when we got wicked right back up, I was like, oh, man, damn. And then I saw that hit right here. I saw the rejection at VWAP, and I was like, oh, watch, it's still going to play out perfectly. So I called out those puts for $8. I was like, damn, I wish I could have got in here. And I knew, too, oh, this is it, too. I forgot to mention, I knew when I entered, I was like, oh, I should have waited till 1 o'clock because it was right around like 12:40. And me knowing the algo changes, you know, I was like, oh, man, I should have waited. As soon as I entered, I was like, damn it, I knew I should have waited till 1 o'clock. And stupid me, of course, right? I didn't wait for the confirmation. and it bounced up till about 1, and that would have been your perfect entry right there. Right around 1 o'clock for $8 is where those cons are right here. And then, of course, this is our news candle right here. That just, loves to come out every other day now for some reason, but whatever. So yeah, so that kind of messed us up. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Obviously, that's when I kind of wrote that thing, and I was like, oh man, these are cooked right now, blah, blah, blah. But then we got that big rejection. I saw this big smack. So I was still focusing back on this trend line. I was like, okay, well, if we break this, where I started in the chat, I was like, if we break this line, then we're definitely still going. And then it broke, went down there, and I was like, all right, well, we're golden. And that's that. So yeah, that's basically, it's as easy as that. I love the lowercase h's. Like I said, those are very, very successful. They have a high success rate, high probability rate. And yeah, I just use my trend lines for the price targets and whatnot. So you can see this would have been lined up right about 212.52 evenly if we had just about gone there. So we didn't hit exactly. I'm sure, honestly, by after hours Monday or pre-market or whatnot, we probably will be. But yeah, it was pretty dang close, right to the penny. And that is pretty much it. So I hope this helped you guys, any at all, somewhat, a lot, anything like that. If any of you guys have any questions, comments, anything like that, or if you want to just say that it helped you or anything, or just think anything like that, shout out for the video, feel free to DM me, give it a like, anything like that. I make these videos for you guys just to help share what I know, just to help share all the knowledge so that we can all grow and get better together. And yeah, again, I love the lowercase h's here. I think these are awesome. So definitely check those out. You can find out how to play them and a lot more in my random sauce in my Discord and whatnot from there. And yeah, hope you guys have a good day.